This is Secret Stories, and my name is Mary Cacciapaglia. Many people cannot be on camera because their employer, their family, their friends, their church or synagogue would roll their eyes, ridicule, misunderstand, and even fire them. Secret Stories allows you to tell your story with anonymity. Here I read experiencers' accounts emailed to us at Breaking the Silence. Thank you for supporting us through YouTube membership or Patreon. Your support helps all of us break the silence. This is Sarah's experiencer account. Hi, Mary and Steve. Thank you so much for sharing my video. Your channel and what you all are doing is amazing. The animation is next level. It is truly my passion to get this information out there, like you all. I've never truly shared my story except to close friends and acquaintances. I've never even written it down for that matter. I've wanted to, but never had the motivation to do so. Well, I'm motivated now, and so happy I get this opportunity to share. Below is a pretty detailed story about my communication and experiences with my ET family. I was a little hesitant because I know your channel focuses on abduction stories. I don't ever feel that I was abducted and experimented on. At least I don't remember. However, I've been on ships many times. I've left some things out to get to the point. My story is more of a spiritual aspect and a little out there, but all of this is 100% true and very real. I was born in 1982 in Santa Rosa, California. I always felt different, like an outsider in my own family. I was a sensitive child and knew things about people without asking. I knew when people were sad, mad, bad, etc. From a young age, I was fascinated with the stars, especially the Pleiades. I called it the Seven Sisters back then. I grew up in a household where talk of the paranormal, extraterrestrials, and Bigfoot were everyday conversations. My dad was and still is fascinated by the subjects and also has had many paranormal encounters and experiences. We would watch unsolved mysteries religiously. I don't ever recall being taken, but I do recall being terrified that they were coming to get me, so much so I would be sick with fear. I'm still unsure if this was really taking place or if it was the horrific abduction stories I watched with my dad. I slept with my parents or siblings almost every night for most of my childhood. The fear transitioned to wonderment when I was between the ages of 9 to 10 years old. Outside my window, there was a craft slowly moving across the sky. It was metallic and was the typically craft shape with what I thought were weird colored lights for a craft. They were orange, green, yellow. I was fearless in that moment. I was fascinated. I was calm and at peace. I knew exactly what it was. The next morning, I excitedly told my parents and was drawing pictures of it. Unfortunately, being a child, they didn't listen and ignored me. I bring it up to this day, and they still say they don't remember it. I buried the experience, but always kept it in the back of my mind, and life continued on. Fast forward to 2020, 6 years after my spiritual awakening brought on by a traumatic event. I won't get into that too much here, but I will say it opened me up to things I didn't know I could experience. I was now what you call a psychic or intuitive empath. I was starting to notice I was becoming almost obsessed with extraterrestrials, abductees, and their stories, and the stars and sky again. I started learning about different races or species of extraterrestrial beings that I didn't even realize existed. One day, while I was watching a show on YouTube, I heard the message, "Keep your eyes on the sky." A few days, maybe a week went by, and I was taking my dog out with my daughter late at night. I saw movement out of my right eye. I looked up to see a huge fleet of what I know now plasma balls that resemble stars in the outline of a huge mothership. It was cloaked so you could see through the middle. It was there, just gliding effortlessly in the starry sky. My daughter witnessed it also. About 2 to 3 weeks later, I was taking my dog outside again and saw movement from my left eye. I looked up, and there were 5 huge ships, all perfectly spaced apart, gliding above the apartment buildings across from ours. I yelled for my daughter to come outside. She got outside and attempted to record, but was so worked up that she just got a picture of one of the ships. It looked like a bright ball of light. However, this is not what we witnessed in real life. They slowly disappeared into the night sky. The next morning, I woke up and instantly knew I have received information or downloads. I was a wreck. They told me through thought and feeling. That's how I receive information, that I was their family. I was in full on grieving mode, if that makes sense. It felt like getting to see a long lost family member and them abruptly leaving. I was distraught and confused all in one. I thought, how is this? How am I their family? It didn't make sense to me. Another few weeks passed, and I go on with everyday life until one night I awake to hear a male and female extraterrestrial being speaking in my head and teaching me about humanity. I know this sounds strange, but I could hear and know that I was asking them questions and they were giving me answers. Answers my awake consciousness wasn't allowed to know. I wasn't allowed to remember anything that was said, but it's stored in my subconscious and only available until the time is right. I began having dreams of being on the inside of a ship. In the beginning, the dreams were of me completely freaking out. I knew that I was in a ship and I wasn't in my body. A woman, a hybrid being who actually lives here on Earth, would help me and calm me down. She would say, "It's okay, you've been here before. Remember?" She would say, "You are safe here." The dreams changed a few years later after I started to become more accustomed to their vibration and frequency. I later found myself walking around the ship with ET beings like it was just a normal thing. I was so happy and proud of myself. In 2021, I was at home and felt an extreme tiredness come over me. I couldn't fight it, so I told my daughter that I had to lay down and take a little nap. This was unlike me at the time. As soon as my head hit the pillow, my consciousness was awake, staring at a 4-foot holographic like gray ET. My body was paralyzed. My body was trying to fight being paralyzed, and I was kicking and thrashing about. However, my consciousness was looking straight at the gray ET, unafraid. I remember thinking, oh my goodness, they are real. The eyes are just like the pictures, except his more pointy like, but still big and black. He was the color gray, and I could see through him. He was surrounded by static. It reminded me of the old TV screens when the channel wouldn't come in. He just stared at me blankly. No telepathic message or emotions, just a blank, emotionless stare. The whole thing lasted 10 to 15 seconds, so I thought. As soon as I was free, I ran into my daughter's room and asked how long I was asleep. She said for 45 minutes to an hour. I believe it was some sort of activation, but I don't know for sure. I was going through a rough time in my spiritual waking journey at the time they started to show up. I was really detached from Earth and 3D reality. I didn't want to be here. Earth can be so hard, especially if you have sensitivities. I was starting to become more reliant on visitations in my dreams and in real life. I needed them to keep me happy. Sometimes I would ask them to just take me away from here. I was in a dark headspace. They stopped coming, and my dreams also stopped. I was heartbroken at first, but I knew somehow that they wanted me to ground my energy to this planet. I had a lot of work to do. I had to get out of the headspace I was in. For the next year and a half, I worked on healing and grounding myself. For the first time, I was happy to be here. I was helping others and got my dream job. I'm a registered travel sleep technologist. I still look up at the sky and wondered about them. Are they still here? Are they still watching over me? Will they ever come back? At the beginning of 2023, they were back. I was on assignment in Minnesota in a small town up north in the dead of winter. I had my blinds open and the lights out so I could lay in bed and see the beautiful stars. One night, around 3 a.m., I was just about to close my eyes when I saw what I thought looked like a lightning flash. I thought that was strange since it was clear out. I kept looking, and then I saw a plasma ball with a wispy tail quickly fly by. I wondered if that was them or not. I waited 10 minutes and nothing, so I fell asleep. 3 nights later, I was laying in bed watching a YouTube video, actually about another guy who sees and communicates with ETs. I shut my iPad and was staring outside at the stars when all of a sudden there was a huge flash in the sky. It looked like someone was in the sky taking a picture of me. I instinctively knew it was them. I hopped up and asked them if it was them to do it again. They did it again in the same spot, and then a third flash. This time they showed me the craft behind it. The activity continued for the next hour or so until I fell asleep. During my short 3-month assignment in Minnesota, the communication and sightings really ramped up. The dreams, the sightings, the messages and signs were all back but intensified. I was elated, but I kept grounded and grateful. Any time I would go outside, they would be there flashing at me, or what I like to say, doing tricks or showing off for me in the sky. It was amazing. I wanted badly to film them and tell everyone what I was experiencing, but the sacredness I felt stopped me. It felt so special to me, so unique to me. I felt like I was the only one on earth they were focused on. I know that sounds weird, but it's true. One night, laying in bed, I was focused on a star I would see at different times out my bedroom window. It was bright and beautiful. While focused on it one night, I received a message to look the star up. It was the star Vega in the constellation Lyra. I then looked up beings from Lyra's star system, and I found the Lyrans and the Pleiadians. So many emotions were running through me. I knew then that they were showing where I was from, that I was a Lyran being before my incarnation here. It was so clear now. They would confirm this through thoughts, through feelings, even having me watch the movie Contact. I was so connected and close to them the 3 months I was there. I received many downloads, remarkable signs and synchronicities, even an owl visitation with massive wingspans. I also had dreams. One dream in particular was them presenting me with an iron shield type object. On the shield, the words, Galactic Federation, was written on it. There were other words also, but I'm unable to remember those. They were asking me if I would be part of the Galactic Federation. I have heard of it before, but never fully understood it. If you don't know what it is, I'll explain. The Galactic Federation, typically known as the Galactic Federation of Light, is a group of light beings, extraterrestrials, and humans, starseeds, whose primary focus is to preserve and protect humanity on its way to ascension. Of course, I said yes, a million times over. I have become an ambassador of the Galactic Federation and spread light, love, knowledge, and happiness wherever I go. I am so grateful as it gives me a great sense of purpose and a feeling of absolute protection. My assignment was up, and it was time to leave Minnesota for a new job in South Dakota. I asked them if they would be coming with me. They said they would always be here, but the sightings wouldn't be like they were here, meaning the sightings wouldn't be as much. I was sad, but understood. In South Dakota, I lived in a pretty populated city. I was still trying to go outside at night and see them, but nothing. I knew they were still there, so one day I asked for a sign. A thought and intense urge came over to take a picture of some clouds outside. I took the pictures. I didn't notice a formation until I looked at the picture. It was the face of an ET. I took about 5 photos of it. I also noticed that in one of the pictures, I captured a metallic sphere. It was them, and they were here. After that, I started to see them outside again, but not as frequently. Just like they said. Here I got the idea about starting to film. I asked them for permission. I attempted to record them, but it was crappy cell phone footage. Around this time, I came out of the closet about my experiences on social media and attached some videos and pictures. It was terrifying yet so liberating. I got pretty good feedback as well. During this time, I had other dreams. I was just about to fall asleep when an Arcturian being came down through the window. It scared me and I jumped awake. I knew he was Arcturian by the feel and the way he looked. Blue-gray tint to skin, tall, large head, and blue jumpsuit. I was getting back to sleep again, and through the same window in my mind, a bright ball of light came in and hit me right in the third eye. I jumped awake again. This was also, I believe, some sort of activation. Some other major thing happened during this time. I worked with a couple named Pete and Roxy from Awakening Education. Again, I won't get into this too much, but they work with the Pleiadians. They take your consciousness up to the ship and place you in what's called a med bed. With the help of the Pleiadians and other ET races and light beings, they clear out what no longer serves you so you can heal and much more. I also learned how to do this. That assignment was over, and I moved to where I am currently, in Missouri. The desire to film them was so incredible. I knew that's what they wanted me to do. I asked them to even show me what camera to purchase. They showed me a guy named Chris Bledsoe. He also sees them and was using an outdated version of the camera I later purchased. I purchased the newest version. I purchased the camera, and they showed up and continued to show up for me just about every night I ask. I can even ask them yes or no questions, and sometimes they respond with flashes or power-ups. To shorten the story, some of my experiences have been left out. It's been such an incredible journey. The feeling of absolute love and protection I receive from them is a godsend. They have helped me in all areas of my life and watched over me and my family. Thank you so much for reading this and the opportunity to share my story. So much love and light, Sara. Thank you so much, Sara, for your story. We know Sara on YouTube as Our Guided Path, and it was she who introduced us to the camera we use to watch the skies ourselves. And thank you for sharing your account with us. It takes guts to share your experience, and when you feel ready, I will share your story for you. This is Mary Cachapalia. May love and light be with you.